And what she did here is they were watching a video, the family that walks on all fours. And you would think, oh, you know what, I want the students to watch this video and I want to have a discussion about it. Now, we might first run that through our filter and say, you know what, I'm going to have them watch the video at home because they're just going to be sitting there watching it. And then we're going to come to school and have a discussion about it. Okay, but she knows actually the better way to do it is to have them come to school and watch the video. Because if you want 40 minutes of uninterrupted attention on a video, you better do that in a captured classroom. Okay, that doesn't work when the students are online. And then she sends them home to have a discussion. Now, she had 15 students in the class. Okay, and so I'm going to play this here. There's no sound. It's just going to scroll down this website. And so here's the video, this is the assignment, and it says, consider the video the family walks on all fours that you recently watched in class. I want you to think about this. She has a rubric of how they get points. And now let's scroll down the next section, 53 responses. Okay, so this is an authentic discussion, but I just want you to look at the length of these responses. Because the students were actually passionate about this. I mean, they cared about this video. And you know, some of these responses, you say, how long did they spend writing that response? And we know that writing is very important to the learning process. To be able to articulate your thoughts in complete sentences is very critical. And so here the students are writing and writing crazy amounts of stuff, spending way more time than what they probably should have on this assignment, except maybe it was less time doing, you know, video games or whatever. And so here they are authentically engaged in the curriculum, talking about this. And it was a really powerful thing. And one of the things that this teacher said was, one of the students that was engaged in this conversation, she had taught the year before, okay, and where all the discussions were in class. And she went up to the student and said, you know, I remember you from last year. You never said anything in class. And you have all these great ideas. Why didn't you say anything? And it turns out it wasn't because the student was shocked. It was not because the student was shocked. That's often what we say. The student said a shocking thing, says, oh, come on. You know, when I step into the classroom and you spend 10 minutes laying out this great question and then say, let's have a discussion, I can see the number of kids in class, I can see the time on the wall, I know it's about, you know, a minute and a half per kid left. That's not inviting us into a real discussion. So we let the talkers talk and the rest of us just sit there. You know? But here, you know, where you can take 15 minutes to lay out what you think about this video, okay, and then other people read it and respond, you know, that's an authentic discussion, a discussion that can take place, and that discussion helps learning to go deeper. All right, so then there's things that can be done online that I don't have the traditional classroom example. One of the things that Sean talks about is using the tools that the kids already know better, where they learn how to use it for educational reasons, use it in a better way. So the setup here is, we're a commuting school, right? The kids come from all over and they drive here, they're here together during the school day, and then they go home. So think about what happens in a lab situation. You get together, you know, you have your pipette or whatever, and you do your lab, and you gather your results, and then you have to write up the lab report. Of course, that happens at home. You got 4 people in the group, and you need to produce 1 lab report. Okay, you know what happens? They draw straws, right? And short straw loses. They get stuck writing the lab report. Well, but technology has an answer for this. This is using Google Docs. In Moodle this year, Sean has installed Google Docs, so people can just click on it and go here.
Where is Sean? He's supposed to help me with this Chem lab report. I can't believe it. Just do it myself.
I'm not a chem teacher, by the way. But
Oh, he came online. Let's see if he Skypes me. Hey, there he is. All right, hey Sean.
Hey Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Now that you're here, where have you been?
I was eating dinner.
Yeah, and I was doing lab report. Well, hey, I already made the document. You should be able to see it in your Google Docs area.
There it is.
Oh, great, there you are. Do you want to do materials and methods?
Sure.
Okay, I'll do the introduction. Dude, you misspelled thermometer. Hey, not a problem. I got it for you. Thermometer. There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, you bet.
It's amazing how software tools come along so that people distribute it around the world. If they want to edit the document at the same time, you can have simultaneous editing of documents provided free by Google. And you know, here it is. So we can be working collaboratively on this document even though we're from a commuting school, right? Students spread out and log in and be working on this. They can all see the document. You can see who's typing. Whenever someone's typing, it says their name, so you know who's adding that text. Because you can have more than 2 people doing it. Well, at some point, it gets a little crazy. So that's a great example. And then here's one last example just to show you that there's stuff out there that we hadn't even thought about before.
Let's see how completing a typical assignment might work. Manuel's band director sent him a practice assignment for a piece that his band is preparing for the next concert. When Manuel logs into Smart Music, the assignment is waiting for him. All he needs to do is click on the assignment and he's ready to practice. Let's listen. Clearly, this is very different from practicing alone. Because Manuel is able to hear how his heart sounds with the music, now the music makes sense. Because he's playing with other musicians, he sounds better.
Okay, we're short on time, so he gets to hear it. It goes through, it puts a green dot by every note that it hits. A red dot means he missed a note, either in timing or in pitch. He clicks on the note and it shows him his instrument and what the correct fingering was. Because you know, if you missed the pitch, it's probably because you had the wrong fingering. And so he can do all of that. He gets his best one, he submits it to the teacher. Okay? Schools are already using this. It's pretty amazing. All right, so in summary, online learning is just as interactive and engaging, if not more so than a traditional classroom. So final question in 60 seconds. What does this mean for Academy? We have the traditional tools, right? This is one hand. The teacher looks into the tool bag. They have labs, they have lectures, they have the stuff that we've been doing for the last 100 years. Okay? We now have online tools, a second hand, another set of tools, which if you have to choose between your left hand and your right hand, the leading research is saying the right hand is better, okay? The online stuff is better, okay? But we don't have to choose, okay? We don't have to choose, okay? Because there's another option, which is the blended environment. That's the option that we see Academy moving towards. There are some things that are better done in the classroom. There are some things that are better done online. And if you have a tool, if you have a teacher that's well-versed in all tools, then they can say, you know what, I have something that I need to get across to my students. Which tool am I going to use? I'm not going to limit myself to just the left hand or just the right hand. I'm going to say for this concept, this is the most appropriate tool. And I can choose from a complete tool set to create an environment where learning can take place. So I said earlier the 5 things that you need to do this well. Spiffy computer, spiffy software, projector, smartboard, thank you PACA. You need faculty training, right? If we're talking about a whole new set of tools, that involves training of faculty to bring them along so they can use those set of tools, and you need honest 24/7 access. And what I mean by honest 24/7 access, in 30 seconds or less, is this. If you take your child down to get a bank account, they give them an ATM card. And when they hand them that ATM card, they say, oh, look, you have 24/7 access to your money. You know that's not true, unless your child's a driver. But if your child's not a driver, it means they have to convince you to drive them to an ATM so they can have 24/7 access to the money. Right? So if we put all this stuff online, students only have 24/7 access if they have a way to access it online. Now there's issues, of course, at home, like maybe you're on the computer or siblings on the computer, that sort of stuff. But I want to talk about the larger issue. How about when they're at school? Do they have access while they're at school? We do, after all, have like 300 computers, 7 through 12. Of course, we have 500 students. And every time I decide to lecture in my classroom, I have 18 sweet Mac desktop units in my lab. And every time I lecture, I prevent access to 18 computers. So there's kids in the hallway wish they had access. They have a free period, but they don't have access. And so part of Vision 2015, part of what the board is looking at, what the school is considering, is to move to what we call a one-to-one program for every child. There is a computer, and that child and that computer are matched. So they have 30 minutes at the end of lunch. They have a free period. They have time between school and practice, and they don't have to beg or plead for a computer. They pull it out, or whatever mobile computing devices, they pull it out, they open it up and say, I have access now. I can do my stuff, I can do my work. All right, that's it. I think I ran over.